Michael Rosenbaum, what's going on?
You know, just trying to get by, my friend.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, just trying to. I don't know. The last time you came over my house,
It was so fun.
it was so fun. It was so fun. You were so enlightening and so like insightful, and it was just really fun because you know a lot of stuff that I don't, and so I always like to learn. And I like that it's it's your theory. It's like what you've like all your research. This is what you've sort of come up with, and you're just a regular dude with obviously a strong mind.
Regular dude, strong mind, debatable.
Yeah,
But I'm passionate about a handful of topics.
a handful.
A handful.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate for me. We were just right before this. We were talking about nicotine.
Yeah.
and now it's on my mind.
Okay.
And I always wondered, like, I don't smoke, but I take Nicorette. I take a low dose, 2 milligrams. And, I said to my doctor, I said, is it okay that I have nicotine? He's like, are you smoking? I said, no. He's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I take Nicorette. He goes, oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, he didn't even have a problem with it. Now,
Yeah.
why do you think that is?
Well, nicotine by itself is not known to have any real there are some potential downsides, but virtually all of the research on nicotine and its association to negative like health outcomes is by way of cigarettes, which are obviously really bad for you.
Carcinogens and all the bad stuff right.
This idea that nicotine in and of itself is harmful, we don't really have strong data to support that.
What are some of those things that they feel like this is why you shouldn't do nicotine?
Shouldn't do it?
Yeah. What do they say?
Yeah, it raises your heart rate acutely, and it
Could give you
raises
anxiety, maybe?
It could potentially, but it's also, I think a lot of people do it as an anxiolytic, meaning it can also reduce anxiety.
Yeah, because when people go out, they go out for a smoke, and it's like, I just need this break from life or whatever. And so that's obviously not a good habit to have. But if you're just taking, Nicorette without all that stuff. But what I tend to do is I tend to take these things more than I probably should. I'm popping them like Tic Tacs. So I don't, if I have like 10, 15 a day, low dose, am I doing myself a service here by taking all this? And then I think of like, do you need this? Is it because you're just not comfortable with yourself? You need something to do. You need something extra to have. You need a habit. And if this is the least negative habit you can have, is this, you know what I mean? So that's what goes on in my mind because I don't really drink. So, I'm trying to get away with whatever I can.
What do you like about it?
I don't know. I don't even know how it makes me feel. I don't know if it's what it's doing actually, but I just feel like popping one, it must have some significance in terms of, when I was smoking, I'd go out for a smoke and it's that nicotine that kind of gives you a buzz. It kind of gives you a little bit like, so maybe there's it's all mental. It's a weird thing. It's like, but
that's what it is.
But should I be doing it?
Yeah,
is the question, Max.
Well, I do think that there are some potential like negatives to it, primarily from a cardiovascular, cardiorespiratory standpoint. But these are like acute effects. So I don't know if they, over the long term, will have any impact on heart health in the long term. I just know that in the short term, it can raise blood pressure, it can raise heart rate. But the benefits, I mean, I don't want to promote nicotine because it's addictive, and we don't, there is a dearth of evidence in terms of how it can affect health over the long term. But I mean, I definitely get a cognitive boost when I take it.
Focus?
Yeah, focus, attention. It's like a nootropic. The concept of nootropics.
Yeah.
And I do think that it might play a protective role against Parkinson's disease. So if you're
really?
Yeah.
Nicotine.
There's evidence to support that. Yeah.
Well, they were trying to say something when COVID was sort of, all over the place, that if smokers tend not to get COVID. Was that all bullshit? Did you ever hear that?
No, I remember reading that, and there is, I believe there's some research showing that nicotine can help therapeutically in the setting of long COVID. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do. Yeah, there is an interesting connection. It seems to play an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant role in the brain.
Right.
So I'm not like, I don't think it's the worst compound ever.
Yeah.
You just want to have as an adult, you want to have like you can have sugar now and then on occasion, right? It's all
Yeah.
about forging a healthy relationship with sugar, which for many people can be addictive.
It's
right?
very difficult. Sugar is is probably the biggest problem for everybody. I mean, because there's nothing to me like a nice, crisp, refreshing Sprite after a burger.
Burger?
Well, it's just like people are like, well, just if you like that carbonated, have a club soda. And so I'm trying to do this. I don't have sodas all the time, but there's something about, and I know that sugar is, it feeds all these other things. And don't they equate sugar with cancer?
I mean, people will debate that. 'Cause I've had cancer experts on the podcast in the past who argue that sugar doesn't actually feed cancer. But yeah, junk foods, which usually have added sugar in them, those are definitely associated with increased cancer risk,
How bad is it if you have McDonald's twice a week?
Twice a week? I mean, look, I'm not going to do it, but I've been enjoying the occasional Shake Shack burger because offer a really good gluten-free bun, and the Shake Shack. I'm not promoting Shake Shack, but but I've enjoyed it. And
That's funny because I saw Shake Shack for lunch we're having.
Yeah.
No, it's not true.
No, what I do is I'll go to the websites of these fast casual chains, and I'll look to see if they have nutrition facts available. And I actually did a bit of an analysis.
You did?
I swear, yeah. And the Shake Shack burger is actually quite lean in comparison to other fast food burgers.
Really?
So the Shake Shack burger is about 40% protein by calories, which is high, which implies that it's a lean burger.
Right,
it's
right.
a lean burger. So sometimes I'll go to, when I'm feeling indulgent, I'll go to Shake Shack and I'll get a double hamburger or
Do you
something.
feel guilty? Do you feel like, oh, hey, that's that health guy. He's having a Shake Shack burger. He's full of shit.
Yeah.
But, everything in moderation. I think, why can't you enjoy some of those things? Look, you're not an advocate of, go out and eat like shit. You're going to eat healthy. But, every once in a while, that's not going to kill you. It's when you do it every meal.
Yeah.
If you're eating Shake Shack for lunch and dinner every day, or McDonald's, this is probably not going to, they did that whole documentary about McDonald's, and it shows you sort of
Rest in peace, Morgan Spurlock.
Yeah.
Supersize Me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy.
What does Michael Rosenbaum's self-care routine look like? Dietary philosophy, what's your approach?
I just think of you could tell me how bad this is, but I wake up, I immediately take a sprint up the block with the dogs and back, wear them out a little bit, feed them, and then I take my pills. And then I make myself some eggs over easy, some bacon, and some gluten-free toast. And I try to do that a couple days a week with that, or I'll have peanut butter toast. And then for lunch, I'll have, a salad, or I'll have a burger, or, something like that. And so it's all pretty decent. And it's usually when I get to the dinner part of my day that I tend to go, let's go beef and broccoli at Kung Pao Bistro, and I tend to do that a lot. Or I like to eat a lot of steak. I like steak. But then at night, I told you about this in my podcast, I'm addicted to popcorn. Now, I pop it myself. I use Himalayan salt, but I'm not, people are like, popcorn's fine for you. I'm sure you're about to say that. But I have popcorn a lot, man. It's incessant, maybe is the word. It's every night. It's like I'm looking at that popcorn machine. I'm like, I want a couple bags of popcorn. Not great.
You got a machine?
I have a popcorn. It pops it, and I use olive oil. So I think my biggest problem with health-wise, my routine, it's like I've dealt with a lot of surgeries in my life, and I deal with a lot of pain and inflammation. I have a bulging disc in my neck. I'm fused in my neck on a level. I have 2 fusions on my back. I've had back problems my whole life. Don't play ice hockey.
Wow.
No, but so I deal with a lot of pain. And so a lot of times when you're in pain, sometimes getting something that's easy, getting almost like fast food, it's like you need it to kind of make you feel better because you get a little depressed. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with a lot of health stuff, but I wake up hoping I feel okay. And I know that it will take me 2 hours to sort of get ready for the day, just to start loosening up and like feeling all right. And I'm trying all these things to like, I'm doing traction and I'm doing decompression and trigger shot injections. So with diet, do you think that I would benefit by really laying off sugar and eating just healthy stuff? Do you think that's going to suddenly fix my issues?
Well, I think your issues would be a lot worse were you to be overweight, which you're not.
Right.
You're super lean. You look fit. If you were eating a diet that was more pro-inflammatory, a lot more junk food than it sounds like you're currently eating, I think you'd be worse off.
Right. Why is that? It's just inflammation?
Yeah, inflammation makes everything worse, makes everything function worse in the body.
What's something that has immediate effects on inflammation? Like something you eat, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that if you have problems and pains, that's going to, what's the word? Just elevate that pain.
Yeah. By the way, you and I have that in common. Like I have chronic back issues as well.
Yeah.
I haven't had back surgery, and you have it up in your cervical spine.
Yeah, I also have it in my cervical. But it's really weird. Like this might help people. My buddy was like, because they're talking surgery. I've done epidurals. I've done all these things. Yeah, I've done everything.
From ice hockey, like from sports injuries.
Yeah, just degenerative stuff. And so I was thinking, I guess I'm gonna have to have surgery because they did an epidural in my neck at 5'6" where the bulge is, and I felt great for 8 to 10 days. But then it all came back.
Wow.
And then the next epidurals that we tried weren't as effective. So I was thinking, maybe I just do the 5'6" artificial disc replacement. And my buddy's like, hey, there's this place in Studio City. And I go, what's this place in Studio City? That's in California. That's where I live. But he's like, they do all these things. You should try it. And I go, what the fuck? I'll do it. And I went over there, and the guy's a doctor. And he looked at my MRIs and this and that. He's like, hey, here's what I want to do. And so we'd start with what's it called? What they put the pads on, stimulation, like
electrodes, something like.
And they do that for about 15 minutes, and then we do a decompression where I'm lying, or they do the traction. It's a slow thing with your neck. At first, they start with a lower volume, and then they work up, and then at the end, you go into this other doctor, and he, where your pain is, and he gives you these injections, trigger point injections, sometimes with cortisone, sometimes just lidocaine. And the first time I did it, the next day I was like, okay, I have some relief from this. But then it was just short-lived. It was gone. I was like, fuck, man. Another thing that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I go, you know what? Just try it again. So Friday I went in, and I did the same thing. Trigger point injections, traction. And we're filming this now. It's Monday. And I've had 3 days of relief. Like, not all of it's gone, but 60% of my pain has lessened. And so I have hope that if I continue to do this traction, continue to do these things, I always think there's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel with everything. And the one thing maybe I jumped the gun on in the past because I thought it was a quick fix and I didn't want to deal with it was surgeries. And you have to know that when you have surgeries, it's more invasive than you think. You are probably going to have another back surgery if you have one back surgery. If you have a neck surgery, you're probably going to have another neck surgery. Because what it does is it's one level's fixed, but now the wear and tear of the one above it is working harder, your disc above it. So back, neck, and even below it. And so you're eventually going to deteriorate those discs as time goes on, depending on how active you are. So this time I'm like, I'm just going to keep trying stuff. There's got to be something out here that's going to give me relief. And so I have hope. I'm just like, because surgery, I've just had so many surgeries that it's depressing. You don't know if it's going to work. They can't give you, definites.
Yeah, back surgery has a 50% success rate, which is pretty low.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, if those are the odds, why go under the knife? Which comes with its own set of risks.
I should send you this interview. Is this doctor who is like a neurosurgeon he was a back and neck specialist, like smart guy. And he saw these people coming in with pain and this and that, and he did a lot of surgeries. but the surgeries weren't really, they were fixing part of the problem, but there's so many other ways. And he got so disillusioned by all of it that he quit the business. He quit being a doctor. So it's an interview, just him talking to himself in the wilderness. And he hasn't gone crazy, but he sits there and talks for an hour about his theory on it and why he left the business. And he was doing really well. And he just said, I felt like I was letting these people down and allowing them to have these surgeries, that wasn't the answer. Sometimes it was, but a lot of times there are other ways to fix or alleviate the problem. So I'll get that to you.
Yeah.
Because my friend sent it, and I was like, I don't want to watch a fucking hour YouTube. Come on.
Well,
and then I couldn't stop listening to him.
Wow. I'm sure you've encountered it. There's a lot of BS, because back pain is a huge problem. Like, a lot of people suffer from back pain. It's like the number one source of, or it's like in the top 5 sources of disability worldwide for adults. And so, you'll get sometimes people suggesting that it's all in your head. Like, it's all mental, it's all emotional.
Yeah.
And there are certainly structural issues, for some people. And I think part of the problem, at least for me, with my back pain, and I don't know if you can relate, but like, it's sometimes really hard to describe, like what the sensation is, where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And that's why I think doctors have a really difficult time, unless they're really good diagnosticians, identifying the pain
source.
generators.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. In fact, with my neck right now, they're like, you're having shoulder pain. It's radiating down into here. In fact, I thought it was my shoulder, so I went to this guy who's a good friend, Dr. Neil Gadadra, one of the best shoulder knee doctors. And I went in there and I go, yeah, it's like in here, and it's just like, I don't know, it's radiating. And he looks at me and he kind of goes over and like, he looks at me and goes, it's not your shoulder. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, it's not your shoulder, it's your neck. You need to get an MRI on your neck. So I immediately got an MRI, and it shows this bulge. And so the complicated part of it is, it's at 5'6", cervical 5'6", and my pain is more on the right. They're like 5'6", it's typical to have it on the left. So they're like, all these doctors, I had 3 different surgeons kind of giving me what they thought. And they're like, look, we could do an artificial disc and it will probably take away a lot of your pain. I think this is the source, but it's kind of an anomaly. It may not help as much as you think it does, or it may. So they're not giving you definites, but at least they're honest enough to tell me that. Whereas a lot of doctors are like, this is your problem. I went to this one doctor. I won't say his name, although I really want to. And he assured me that my 3-4 was the source of all my neck pain. And I'm going to wake up and feel better. And he convinced me. I've never had someone more convincing in my life. And this is what these doctors do. A lot of them they're going to get $80,000, $90,000 for a surgery. And they do it like this. And they're like, oh, yeah, he has a little problem there. So let's do that. I woke up 10 times worse pain.
Wow.
Was in excruciating pain, more so than I was before surgery. And finally, I just didn't trust this guy. So I went to this other doctor. And he goes, your disc didn't take, your artificial disc. It was loose in my neck. So for 2 months I had been, and he was like, no, it's normal. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel better. Not even saying, let's get an MRI. I go, it's too soon for an MRI. It's too soon. And I'm like, no, something's going on. This other doctor immediately got me to get an MRI. And so he goes, we need to take it out. And we could either put another disc in or fuse it. But at that level, I don't think you lose a lot of mobility. So we just fused it. And all that pain was gone. But the pain that I had before was still there.
Still there.
So it was a surgery that was unnecessary. I didn't need it. And he was so assuring. And it's a bummer. And you hear about this stuff all the time. And I'm like, I guess I was the guinea pig, or I'm a prime example of how most doctors, there are good guys out there that are there to really help people, but there are some out there, and you hear about all these, like there's podcasts about it, that are not in it to really, not so much, look, helping you would be great, but really they just want to do another surgery.
Predatory.
Yeah.
Predatory practice.
And it just bummed me out. I felt like a victim.
Yeah.
I felt like, wow, he really didn't care about me. He didn't,
sucks.
And so, but I get it. So if you're out there and you're thinking of having surgery, always get 3 opinions. Always. I don't care if you love this doctor. I've had people say, oh my God, I went to this doctor. He's great. He's going to do my surgery. I go, did you get a second opinion? No. My friend used him. He's great. I go, get a second and third opinion. If all 3 doctors say you need this surgery, then okay. But if one guy says yes, the other guy says absolutely not, and the other guy says there's another way, then you need to sit back and kind of take it all in. People jump the gun. Do your homework. Do your fucking homework. It's important. And, especially now, I want as many opinions as I can get. I want to know that what I'm doing is the right approach, if it's safe. So yeah, I've dealt with it. I know you've dealt with it, it is hard to pinpoint. Like I'll say it's here, but it's also up here. Well, do you have any pain here? I go, well, I think so. And it's just like this ambiguous sort of.
Well, because sometimes the pain is what's referred to as referred pain. Mm-hmm. So the pain, where you seem to be having the pain isn't necessarily due to pain generators in that location, but from like something hitting on a nerve.
Yeah. There are a lot of things
adjacent tissues.
There are a lot of things you can do for your back. Have you ever tried psoas work?
Not with like a therapist, but I have a Sorite.
I know what you're talking about. It's a device that you use.
Yeah, it's like a little plastic thing.
It's not as effective. It works a little bit, but you need to go. Like I had this physical therapist. He's amazing. His name's David Fabrizio. And the first time he got in there, he goes into your below your ribs, and he's trying to find your psoas. I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I feel like I'm going to throw up. He goes, no, you're all right. Breathe. And he finds this area and he holds it deep in your stomach. And you're like going, oh my God, I hate this. The more you do it, he could just throw his whole hand down there. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. This feels great. And he releases your psoas on both, and it's connected to your back. It's all connected. So your psoas and your back muscles and all these things, it releases so much. I want you to try it. I want you to go into a professional and let him work on your psoas, and you'll walk out of there and you go, I feel way better. Whoa. It's amazing. So it's like, a lot of times people say, oh, I can't get rid of this pain. It's as easy as working on your psoas a lot of times. It's as easy as working on your abductors there's different parts. They're all connected. So it's like just finding out what works. And I hate it because everybody in LA especially will go, oh, I have the best doctor. You have to go to that. He's the best. And it doesn't do anything for me. I just go, okay. Yeah, the best. They're all the best. They're all the best doctors. I've even said it. He's the best. He's the best. But I still will go to them hoping for a miracle, hoping that this guy will figure it out, hoping that this guy has more answers than the other guy. But I think that's healthy to just keep trying to go after going to people who might have the answers. You never know who's around the corner. People will say, try all these things. There's like ketamine and, this. And I did ketamine at one point. It didn't help me a fucking bit. I did 8 sessions intravenously. I just felt like I was higher than high. It was monitored, so I felt comfortable. But maybe it helps a lot of people.
And you did it specifically for
I did it for like issues? Neck pain and stuff, and trying to like they said, oh, this could reset your pain levels and kind of disconnect and start like almost like restart the program. Restart, and I just kept going. Okay, I'll try ketamine. Great, didn't work. I'm up for trying anything. I've done the acupuncture. Acupuncture doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I tried it once.
It just doesn't work, and I've had great people supposedly. It just doesn't really work. I'm not saying it's not effective and doesn't help a lot of people, but usually it helps people who don't really have intense, severe problems. I would assume. But yeah, man, I'm always looking for answers. Always looking for answers.
Back pain, it can be so depressing because like you're a young guy, you've got a lot of runway left.
Well, I'm 52, Max.
You're 52?
Yeah.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Really? You would have said 51.
No, I would have guessed 10 years younger.
No.
Yeah.
It's all that occasional McDonald's.
Maybe that's what it is.
No.
Good genes.
It's funny. I bumped. Here's a name drop. Whenever you name drop, you got to drop something. But I became friendly with Leonardo DiCaprio years ago, and we used to like play flag football or beach football at his house, and he was always awesome. He was like one of my close friends. It was his best friend, and I bumped into him a couple years back, and he goes, "Rosie." I go, "Leo, what's up, man?" He's like, dude, you look great. You haven't changed. You look so young. I go, yeah, try not working, man. You work too much. I looked at him. I go, you work too much. I mean, and I want to talk to you about that too, because I think there's something to be said about that. It's like I always, on my podcast, I always talk to actors, and one of my biggest questions is like, do you have to work? Like, what are you like if you don't? Oh no, I have to. I feel like I go crazy. I can't function. I can't be alone. I have to always be working. And I love nothing more than not working. I love working on something I'm passionate about or whatever, but how important it is to shut off and how important it is to connect and have friends over and go to places and do all these things. I have never been someone who just wants to jump to the next thing. I get worn out. I get fried. I don't know how people do it. It can't be healthy, right?
Yeah. What do you think drives that incessant need to be hyper productive, particularly in the arts?
Maybe it's an insecurity and the thought of being irrelevant or losing relevance. Maybe it's I have to keep, and my agent will always say that. You got to keep relevant. You got to be relevant. And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? I did a show for 7 years. I did another show for 2 years. I've done movies. I'm proud of what I've done. I'm grateful. I've done some shit. I've done some good stuff. I've done everything in between. I'm okay. I'm not it's changed. I'm not going to lie to you. When I was in my 20s, even late teens in college and doing plays, and I just wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to fucking do movies and TV and all this. And something happened where once you got a certain success, you just start to go, you either want more and you crave it more and got to get to the next level. And I didn't. I just felt like I never thought I get this far.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. I'm grateful. That's good. I don't need to. And also, I hated always getting a job and then it was about the next one, and it wasn't being in the moment and feeling the gratitude and the weight of what you just did. It was just like the next thing. So you're not really taking the time to be present, to enjoy what you've got, to enjoy what you've done, to enjoy the work. And so I don't know what age it was, maybe, and it wasn't that long ago, dude. It might have been 45 years old, where I just go, I'm good. And if something comes along, great. And if it doesn't, great. I don't know what happened. I think it was the mentality of like just being in the business so long that I don't have to be an A-lister. I don't have to work with so-and-so. I know I can. I know I could do it. I know, but I don't go after it as much. I don't say yes to much. I kind of like my life. And little did I know that doing a little podcast like Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, cheap plug.
Such a great show.
Thank you. Well, you know what it is? Somebody said, a lot of celebrities and you got a good voice. You should do a podcast. And I go, you'll make money. I go, really? And it's bullshit, because the first couple of years I made nothing and I was going to quit. And I just wasn't like, I was starting to get good at it, but there was something missing. And I remember the episode, I don't remember exactly the episode, but it was when I started opening up and being vulnerable and asking real questions, and questions about life and death and mental health and therapy and, all these things with people, that I brought the conversation into a real place where it wasn't just two actors talking. It was like, I'm going to ask Keanu Reeves what he thinks about, what does he do when he just wants to do just get things out of his mind and relax. And so speaking to all these people who everyone looks up to, who think, oh, they don't have problems, but hearing J.K. Simmons talk about his issues and Kiefer Sutherland talk about his issues, and it changed. It changed the way I felt about it, where I felt like I had a purpose now, because I was I inadvertently, I didn't think I was helping people. I thought I was helping myself. But the questions I was asking in the response just opened up sort of the floodgates to, so many people out there who were experiencing things that they could relate to that we were talking about. And it wasn't until I went to like some cons to sign autographs for like, Smallville and stuff. And people were like, that show changed my life. That episode with Alan Ritchson about him almost killing himself and they're crying. And I'm like, what's happening? And I realized what an effect it had. And it just meant a lot to me. So now I'm going back to like, I'm doing something I feel like I have a purpose. I enjoy doing it. I learn a lot. I love listening. I have ADD, so when I put those headphones on, it makes me focus. And it's just something that's become really special. And I think as you get older, you start to, if you're lucky enough, you won't spend your whole life chasing something that you think will make you happy. And I won't be 85 years old going, why did I care so much about this and that and being this? And it's more about while you're here, it's the connections and the good times and the family and trying to be as healthy as you can, to live a long life and happy, and trying to understand, why you're depressed and what you can do about it. And so I think that's way more important.
Yeah.
To me. So I don't know what it is, long story short. I don't know what it is about, maybe a lot of actors, maybe it is the relevance thing, or because some people have so much money that I'm like, God, if I had their money, I'd buy an ice rink in the back of my house. I'd have all my friends in a cul-de-sac. I'd buy them all a house, and we'd all live near each other. I think I'd go to Disney World a lot. I mean, I think of like fun, stupid shit.
Yeah.
I don't need Lamborghinis. I don't need like big mansions. I just kind of I'm just like the same guy I was just kind of when I was younger. It's just like trying to make people laugh, trying to enjoy life.
Well, you're so good at what you do. I mean, you definitely have a gift. I love, first of all, the conversation that we had when I was on your show is one of my favorites.
You said that. You mean that. That means so much to me because I know you talk to a lot of people and you, that because it felt like I learned so much from you, and I loved your documentary.
Thank you, brother.
About your mom. It was so touching, and you brought it. You you were someone that was just someone I admired and someone I wanted to connect with, and I'm glad we connected. So it makes me feel good.
Well, your show, it's I would imagine that many actors, like obviously there have been podcasts that are more comedy focused, where comedians will go on and do the rounds and stuff. But one of the things that I think is so special about your show is that you bring on all these like dramatic actors that are probably not used to having such a having a platform on which to be able to have such a vulnerable, long-form conversation. Because so many actors, at least from my outsider vantage point, are more comfortable obviously being edited and always having their best foot forward. But to be able to have an unedited, long-form conversation with somebody such as yourself, who kind of has a foot in, definitely has a foot in that world, and can relate. It's just a really unique space. I mean, I was watching Robert Patrick on your show. Man, did he open up. Yeah. You guys remember Robert Patrick, right? Terminator 2 and tons of stuff. Legend. And he, what's funny is a lot of these actors, they'll say to me, I've had many people say like, I was like, you really want to talk, people want to really hear about this? I'm like, yeah, they do. It's like, all right, you sure we're not boring people right now? They're not used to it. Like, they're just not. And Robert Patrick, I think he even said something like, you getting inside of me now? Hey, I think he was very, sort of reserved and, it took a minute to break the shell a little bit. And, Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian was on the show, which I was starstruck. And like hearing him sort of like, you could tell he was kind of like, okay, all right. It's like, do you really want to know these things? I'm like, yes, I really do. And seeing him open up, and by the end, I could tell I got him. And there's nothing better. It's not like I got him like, fuck yeah, he divulged so much information. It was like I got him to just talk to me as a human being. That's it. He talked about his life, talked about hardships. He talked about being grateful. He talked about all these things. And when I can do that, I don't know. My dad always said, that they did a Rolling Stone interview with me, Tom, and Kristen from Smallville.
And I was so bummed because I didn't make the cover. Only the pretty people made the cover. But I was on page like 75. And it said, his father, Mark, says something like, Michael flirts with everybody, whether it's someone at Burger King at the cashier or whatever. He just knows how to. And I think what he's saying is, I am a people person. Like if someone's having a bad day, I feel it. And I'll do whatever I can in a moment to make them smile. Like it means so much to me to make them smile, or just talk to them. Not like, this. It's like, hey, how's your day going? You all right? Hey, what do you got? Like 4 hours left. You'll get through it. Hey, just be a human being. Just be, and that's sort of, I think my gift in a lot of ways is I'm always able to, and it's a curse too, because you feel people's energy and you just want to make their day better. I know it sounds corny, but like I do. I just want to make people happier. I want to make people smile. I want to make people think. I want to make, so, that's sort of the approach, I guess. But
it's so great. I mean, I'm a fan of movies and TV, and I'm a huge cinemaphile. But prior to your show, I mean, where else would you see an actor who's not in the middle of a press cycle, hitting on all the whatever talking points for the project that they're promoting, right? Yeah. You get the press junket sound bites, typically, from these incredibly gifted artists, but on a show like yours, I mean, you're getting to listen to them open up, and it's like not usually between it's not like a promotional platform.
Yeah, I got this movie coming out, and this and that. Yeah, it comes out in theaters. It's I don't like doing that. In fact, when publicists say, "Hey, we really want to talk about this," I go, "That's okay. I want you to know that I'll bring it up and we'll talk about it for a minute, but that's not what the show's about. As long as they know they're going to be talking to me for an hour and I'm going to bring that up, that's okay." And it just has to be done that way, because I don't want it to just be promoting what you're doing. If you're not willing to talk and
be a real human,
then it just, I don't have interest. What's the point? Then he just talked about his movie the whole time. But if you want to talk about life and moments and inspiration and somebody that touched you in your life that helped you get to where you want to be, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that you can give to the people listening.
Yeah,
that's it.
When did you launch it?
I think it's been like 6 years, and man, I'm telling you, if I told you how many times I was going to quit, we're like, there was no money involved at all. And so I was paying an editor and an engineer, and it was making no money, and it was taking a lot of my time. And now it's like, we're definitely not the biggest podcast out there, but we're doing well enough where it's like, I have an audience and I have these loyal patrons that support the show and give back and keep the show going. And, it's worth my while. And I feel like it's helping people, and I like it. I always think though that it's like, is this my last year of the podcast? I mean, because I get all the guests, so I'm like, can I get enough guests for next year? Am I gonna, and I've been thinking that since year one, and now it's 6 seasons in, and I've had like 350 guests.
You do what, one episode a week?
One a week, but sometimes like I'll try to pile them on and have them in the can. So like now I have like 13 in the can, but I got down to where I only had 3 in the can. So the last couple of weeks I just had to boom. But it's sometimes you get your heroes in there, and sometimes you get people that you never thought, like you. I was like, this guy Max seems really. I love his documentary. I don't really know Max, and I wasn't watching his movies growing up, and I wasn't, And then all of a sudden, I'm like, and I always do this. After the guest leaves, I'll go, Ryan, my engineer, Ryan, right? He's like, yeah, dude, that was really good. I'm like, well, I think that was really good. That was right. I enjoyed that, and that's passion. And it's like, so I always say to people, when they listen to the show, don't listen to someone. Maybe start out with listening to a few people that you know, but then you shouldn't have to know them, because we're going to talk about things with people that you don't know that might just help you, that might make you go. Because I try to make every conversation unique, and so I learn from people mostly that nobody really knows that well or aren't that known, or because I think everybody has a story. It's not just celebrities who have a story. It's everybody.
Yeah.
I might have to get some guests from you that
Maybe.
you think are great.
If you want to, keep going down that
Maybe a therapist,
that wellness route. Yeah. Yeah, we've had some epic guests. Have there been any guests, or is there any guest in particular that you are particularly proud of having on the show? Like somebody who you were like a huge fan of?
I think Keanu Reeves was just like, I had done a movie with him in like 2000. I was a transvestite in this movie, Sweet November. And having him on the podcast it took forever to get him on. And I didn't think it was going to happen. But I worked so many angles. I worked this friend. I worked this publicist. I was like, dude. And last minute the night before, they're like, hey, they're wondering if they could do a Zoom tomorrow, Keanu. And I'm like, no, it's got to be in person. Okay. All right. We just wanted to check. They were trying to throw, and I was like, I finally put my foot down. I go, he's got to come to the house. And he sat down, and the first thing he says, he looks at a poster that I have in my room. I have all these autographed posters of horror movies and shit. And I had Dracula signed by Gary Oldman. And he goes, hey, I worked in that movie. And I go, yeah. He goes, I remember I brought Francis Ford Coppola mushrooms one day. And I go, thanks for being here, Keanu. It was just like, it's cool. I still get like starstruck like that. I still get excited. I get excited about every interview, to be honest with you, whether it's a big name or small name or just to shoot the shit and learn something from somebody. It's cool. It's cool, man.
Yeah, I love it. Such a great platform. When I first started my show, I didn't think that I was going to be any good as a podcast host. I remember thinking that the podcast universe was already saturated. There were already enough podcasts.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. Especially during COVID, it's like every celebrity came out going, I'm gonna have a talk show. And I'm like, fuck, here we go. More famous people now thinking they need to have a podcast, which is gonna take people away from mine. And like I was like, but like, if you don't have something really to say and you're just doing it to do it, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You have to have something to offer people, something of significance, something that people, the most important thing is, they always say when you write a script, don't cater towards the people you think will want to watch it or the executives. They'll want to buy something like this. Write what you know, write what you love, write the story you want to tell. And so I think that goes along with like podcasts and most things in life. If you have something to say and you want to say it and you believe in it and you think you can help people or you think you could make an impact, or that's when I think it will work. And it will work just because you are doing it for yourself. And if people happen to catch on and like and love hearing your passion, that's the connection. And that's what it's about. But so many people have these angles of like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna have call-ins, and we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna throw so many gimmicks at you because no one has a fucking attention span on TikTok, and you're just like, no, I'm gonna, you just gotta do it. You gotta speak to the people. You gotta speak to like with your own beliefs and your own thoughts, and hopefully attract an audience.
Yeah. Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
You're so good at it. Did you always want to be an actor? Like, at what point did you realize you want to be an actor?
I was in high school, and I was the shortest kid in my high school. I grew after high school.
Huh.
I was 5'4" when I graduated high school. I never got girls, and I was in drama class. I've told this story, but like we had drama class, freshman through senior. And senior, it was called advanced drama, but you're with the same fucking people. So whatever. But my teacher, Mrs. Paternoster, she said, I'm not letting you take advanced drama your senior year unless you audition for a play. And I go, oh no, now I have to go in front of people and audition. I never would have done it. I never would have become an actor. I didn't have the guts. But I needed someone to push me, someone to give me an ultimatum, someone to just say, hey. And I auditioned for a play. And I got it, and I was terrified. But then after the play opened, I noticed people responding to me, like the popular kid walking down the hallway and going, hey, you were really funny last night. And I'm like, oh my God, not being me is the way to go. And so when I went to college, I figured, okay, I'll take some acting classes, and it gave me the confidence to pursue it. And I never got that unconditional love, or at least I never felt it, or ever thinking for a second that someone was proud of me, or I just never felt those things as a kid, or like I was smart, or all that stuff. I know it sounds kind of sad, but it's just like, but that instant gratification, that being an actor and then people responding to you was visceral. It was something that I needed, and that got me to a certain point, because, you know, obviously real love, is something that's something that lasts, something that's, what's the word? It just holds up. It's not like, you know, being an actor and you getting this applause and you're great, you're so great. You know, you're only good as your last project, and then, you know, it's kind of ephemeral. It just is like, you know, you put water in a colander and it goes right through. It just doesn't last. It's not lasting like real love is. And so for years I was living off that instant gratification, and you know, it took many years for me to finally realize, like, hey, you know, you are loved. You know, people do love you. It's okay. It's hard to believe, you know, coming from where I came from. I just, you know, it's hard to like, it's like, and there are a few people in my life that I was like, oh my God, they did love me. And that helped me get through the hard times. But I think I became an actor because somehow I was good at it naturally. And I had a good personality, even though I was incredibly insecure. And I was making money at it. And I was getting all this instant gratification. I was getting all these, you know, and that kept me going. It was like, wow, that was exciting. But that, you know, it's not real, you know? I mean, so I was doing it in a lot of ways for the wrong reasons, but for reasons that I needed. I needed to be loved. I needed to feel that. I needed to know I'm good. I needed to have confidence, and it would feed that confidence. So it helped me in a lot of ways. And, you know, people say, do you love acting now? You don't act as much. And it is by choice. I took a break from it for like 5 years, and I'm just starting to think about it again, but on my own terms, because I just needed to like disconnect and work on me. And I'm so glad I did. It was like 5 years of incredible therapy and figuring it out, and like realizing I was crippled with anxiety, or riddled with anxiety. Yeah, I guess both. But like from a young age. And I didn't realize that this feeling I had, that I was nervous about everything and I was overwhelmed by everything. I think that was just part of me. That was just part of me. This is just who you are. That's normal. And then I realized it wasn't. And you get to a certain age where your body can't be in fight or flight constantly like it could when you were younger, and you can get away with it. And then it wasn't until like 5 years ago that I finally got on Lexapro. Lexapro. And I hadn't really been on anything my whole life. And I'm not saying Lexapro is, you know, it's right for some people. It's not right for other people. You have to talk to your psychiatrist or whatever. But all of a sudden, I wasn't overwhelmed. Like even today, I'd probably be sweating. You would know that I was nervous, but I would be nervous. And I go, God, I gotta be good. I gotta be great. Max has gotta love this podcast. And I, you know, all these thoughts, these invasive thoughts that were just like, it just kind of, it's not like it numbed me. It just made me just kind of get at a level where I feel sort of normal, more normal than I've ever felt. Like I could function, and I don't let the little things in life overwhelm me. And some people will say, well, you could do that with exercise. You could do that with this. You could do that with this. I agree. Some people can. For me, the thing that's helped me the most is all that stuff with Lexapro. And it's just given me sort of like, I don't freak out as much. I don't get upset as much. I take things in stride more. I still feel things. I cried last night. I won't tell you what I cried about. Do I have to?
Kind of have to know, yeah.
Shit. So I do another podcast with Tom Welling, who's the star of Smallville. So the two of us do a rewatch podcast for Smallville. It's called Talkville. And I never watched the show. So now we are forced to watch every show and talk about it. And so I was watching an episode, and I'm always the one who like, this episode we have a rating system, and I'm always the one who gives low, and I'm not, I'm the real critic. And Tom's like, oh, I like this one. Of course you did. And I'm watching this episode, and it's where Jonathan Kent, Clark Kent's dad, dies. And when it happens, I just kind of was like, oh my God. And I had a tear, and I was like, I was a little emotional by it. I was like, oh my God. I never thought I would get emotional about a show that I was in, and it was cool. And then I laughed after, because I'm forced to watch these shows, but I'm like, that was a really good episode. I'm impressed by that. And I was also happy that it made me emote. It made me feel. And so, yeah, that was last night, because we have to record 2 episodes tomorrow, and I had to watch them. And usually I I'm watching, but I'm also watching the Mets. And but this one stuck with me, and I was like, holy shit, man, this is good. So Anyway, yeah.
It's an amazing feeling when art gets under your skin like that. And sometimes at the most unexpected moments, in the most unexpected moments. It happened to me recently. I forget what I hate that I can't remember what it was that I was watching, but it was like some
documentary.
It wasn't a doc. It was like a movie or a show or something, and there was just some scene that was like,
they got
me, yeah. And I like started like, I could feel like my lip muscles start to
it's a great feeling when you could let out a cry. It's like your body needs it sometimes. It's a release. It doesn't happen often. I think before I was on Lexa Pro, I think I probably cried too much. I think I was upset too much, but like, there's something really beautiful about that when, good art or something. Yeah. Even something stupid like I'm watching Tommy Boy, and it's the scene where he's in the rowboat or something in the middle of the lake, and he's just going, "Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about you," and all of a sudden a wind comes to help him. Just a little breeze comes in, and he's like, he knows his dad's there because Dad died. And I was, oh, dude, Farley got me. Fucking Farley. He could always get me.
That was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, dude, that movie is so funny. There's so many great lines.
Classic.
What's your favorite Tommy Boy line?
Oh, my God. I mean, I don't...
Remember when he goes to the gas station and he goes, well, what you want to do is this. Yeah, well, I guess. I'm sensing some sarcasm. David Spade goes, well, I'd hope so, because I'm laid on you pretty thick.
Yeah, so good.
So many good lines.
I love... when the car just gets like destroyed and David Spade is in like getting like directions or something while they're filling up for gas.
What'd you do? Yeah. That's amazing. Or the line where he goes, did you even try calling your dad? He's been calling you. He's like, yeah, I called him. He's like, well, what number did you call? He's like 329 He's like, you're trailing off. And did I catch a 9er in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie? Shut up, Richard. That movie is I just had Pete Siegel, who directed Tommy Boy, on the show.
Whoa.
And we talked about it for probably half an hour. So, I mean, again, that to me is like, I love hearing about that stuff.
Yeah. What a loss.
He was the biggest loss. Like when Farley passed, and I have a close story, like his brother, Kevin and Johnny, his brothers were working on a show with me. I was a regular and they were recurring. And in fact, they lived above me. They moved in my apartment building. But, I got to hang out with Chris a few times, and I have a great story where he comes on set. I'm in the middle of a scene, and everybody starts laughing, and I go, they can't be laughing at me. It's not that funny what I'm saying. And I look over, and Chris Farley's in the studio going, how are you? All right. And people are laughing, and I go, oh, my God, my idol is here. I have to do something. And I go, hey, everybody, look, it's the big fat guy taking all the attention away from the skinny punk. And then he looks at me and goes, that's it. And he runs over, and he grabs me, and he picks me up, and he starts smacking my ass, runs through the audience. People are smacking me. We hung out all night. And I just remember like months later, I was going to AA, and because Tom Arnold just assumed I was an alcoholic, and I was like, I really don't need to be here. But he's like, no, you're going to come, buddy. And Kevin Farley and Johnny are here. We're going to have a meeting. And we talked about Chris, and they were really worried, and like I could see it in their eyes. And sure enough, it was like a week later, I saw Kevin running through the studio, and then he looked really emotional. I goes, Kevin, are you okay? He was like, my brother died. My brother's dead. And that's when I found out Chris had passed. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. It was like my dream was always to work with Chris Farley. My dream. And nobody has ever made me laugh as much as Chris Farley. Ever. And it was just a tragic loss. It was a tragic loss. As funny as those guys are, none of them are as funny as Farley. And they all will say it. It's just so obvious. There was something like just natural. Like you could look at him and just, well, no matter what he said. But yeah, I love Chris Farley. I loved him. But yeah, that was another day that I just remember being so emotional. I don't even know how we got into the story, but
yeah, growing up, like that was the era of Saturday Night Live that like every Saturday night with my family I would watch. And I remember my mom was like a massive fan of Tom Petty. And, Tom Petty was on Saturday Night Live at one point. I grew up in New York City, so my mom she heard that Tom was going on the show, and she pulled a bunch of string. I don't know how she was able to do it, but she ended up going to SNL Studios.
Really?
And got to meet Tom Petty when he was like on the show.
Wow.
And she was like almost like a.
Did she get emotional?
She got emotional. I wasn't there. But I have a photo of it. She's like hugging Tom. And and it was an incredible night for her. But I remember she brought home. She had like this like notepad with her, and she brought home signatures from I think Chris Farley. And,
really?
Yeah, for me, because I was such a huge fan growing up. And I don't know where they were just on this. It was like on this like notepad, it was like to Max, from Chris. I believe that was the era, yeah. And so yeah, that's my only connection.
I've got a great picture of me and Chris Farley where he has me in a headlock. And I remember the one thing that was really sweet, because I was just keeping up with him and just we took golf carts and we drank beers and went up to the Universal lot to the Psycho House, and we were leaving or something. He said something, he was taking off, and I go, dude, so great to meet you. He goes, come here. Or something like that. And I go, what? He goes, and he gave me a big hug, and he goes, you're funny. And that was it. And I just like, oh, this is awesome. And then I got to hang out with him a couple other times, but like, yeah, he had some demons, he had a lot of demons. And I think I always felt like, he was some guy who was just like I felt always like I was making people laugh at parties and this and that. And then I'd go home alone and I was kind of the sad clown, the lonely, sad clown. And I always felt like Farley was that guy. And I just always felt like I could relate to maybe what he was feeling in a small way. Because I think he had a lot of that, the insecurities and like,
I'm sure.
Yeah, we all have it and we hide it. And I think that's another thing about the podcast. It's like you talk to guests and you're like, do you get nervous? Do you have a hard time memorizing lines? Do you ever get overwhelmed? Do you ever forget your shit? Do you ever feel like a failure? What do you do when your movie bombs? Do you get sad? Do you get depressed? So I like to just talk to them about real things that no one really knows about. And then when you hear them talk about it, I go, yeah, when that happened, it took a while for me to get over it. And it's like, wow, it's, they're human. They have feelings,
Well, they always say you shouldn't meet your idols, but I've met quite a few of mine.
Who have you met?
Well, last night I went to see the band live. Who's my favorite band of all time.
Oh, I can feel it coming back again.
There you go.
Like a, what is it? Roll of thunder chasing the wind. Mm-hmm. That was the shit, man. They had another song too. What was the other hit?
I Alone Love You.
Yeah. I love that you love live.
Dude, my favorite band. I mean, I loved live and I loved Ed. Like, I love...
I don't know Ed.
Ed Kowalczyk, the singer.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, just who he is. And I got to meet him for the first time 20 years ago. I was like an undergraduate at University of Miami, and I was just like the biggest... I would wear it on my sleeve, like how much I loved that band. Also because it was like kind of niche. You know, Live has always been like a thinking man's rock band, and they weren't like, you know, they weren't as big as like Pearl Jam, but they were definitely one of the biggest bands of the 90s, but still kind of like you're a certain kind of person would like gravitate to Live, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so they've always been my number one. Like,
so you were just in awe. You just loved it.
Awe. And
you know every song?
Oh yeah. Like every, yeah.
If they called you on stage, could you sing anything?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's that band from the 90s or 2000s that everybody gives such a hard time? I just watched their documentary.
Nickelback.
Yeah. I really liked that documentary, and it was enlightening. And to know about it was good, and how they, you know, it's like, it's hard. It's like, you know, you're huge songs and people love you, and then they just turn on you for no reason other than because people like to make stupid responses or jealousy or whatever. But they had some good songs.
Yeah, there was at least one Nickelback song that was like on constant rotation. I remember.
I know it was Photograph.
It wasn't Photograph.
It wasn't. Oh no, it was before that. It was. But I loved Photograph. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it, make me laugh. I know all the words. Though. I don't know.
But yeah, so I got to meet Ed 20 years ago, and I've been able to sustain like an acquaintance with him over the years. And last night I got to go see his shows. They're on tour. Him and Live and Stone Temple Pilots and RWPs. They're on tour. Yeah, they played at the YouTube Theater down in Englewood, and I got to go, you know, backstage to the green room, hang out with Ed, and I brought him a copy of my first book, Genius Foods, and we had like a really great hang. And he's like a fan also.
He's gonna do the podcast?
Yeah.
He is?
Well, yeah, we just have to like schedule it.
Are you gonna be starstruck? Nah, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I'll be all right. But he is, I mean, he's been one of the most, you know, influential figures in my life, period.
Yeah.
Like him.
But you met your hero.
I met
and
my
he
hero,
was great.
And he's great.
I've met a couple of my heroes that weren't as great, but I've also met some heroes that were great. And, you know, there's certain people I don't really need to meet. There's some people that have they're a little devastating that I had a bad experience with that. But I think it's because they're older and they're having a lot of health issues, and it was just a bad moment. And it really hurt my feelings. And the other person I was with, who is best friends with that person, goes, they're not in their right mind. Do not take it literally. Do not. And like, it was just so hard to understand. And this is someone I wanted to be this person. You know, I was like, I have the funny. I can do this. I can do stuff like that so it does suck when your idols aren't as cool as you were hoping they'd be. But you know, there are a lot of great people. There are a lot. Most of the people that I've met are genuinely good people. There's obviously a lot of actors out there with egos and ulterior motives, and just like whatever they do is to get for themselves. They're trying to get more and more, and they're not like, you know, they're not as present with. You know who was cool is Denzel Washington. I always tell a story about Denzel. I met him when I go, Denzel, oh my God, I'm a huge fan. I'm an actor. I go, you got any advice for me? He's like, yeah, I got some advice for you. He goes, never go to anyone else's premiere. Only go to your own. I go, why? He goes, you don't need to be at someone else's premiere. You know, what are you there for? Just go to your own premiere. 6 months later, I'm about to go to my premiere for this movie, Urban Legend, that I did. And I'm at the Four Seasons, and I see him walking. I go, Denzel. And he just goes, yeah. And I go, hey, Michael Rosenbaum, I met you like 6 months ago. He didn't remember. And I go, you gave me some great advice. He goes, what advice I give you? you said never go to anyone else's premieres, only go to your own. He goes, that's true. I meant it. I go, guess where I'm going tonight? He goes, I don't know. I go, I'm going to my own premiere for my movie, Urban Legend. He goes, all right, congratulations. Guess what? I go, what? He goes, I'm not going. And I was just like, and he like gave me a little wink and a smile. And I was like, yes.
Wow.
I mean, it was just cool. It was a cool moment. It's like, it's like I've met some actors along the way that just kind of make you feel good, like make you feel like, I'm glad I was watching them all along, and I'm glad I supported them because, like, I got this moment. Now that was cool. And then there's I had a weird experience with Joaquin Phoenix. Ooh, it was weird. It was just weird. I just started talking to him. I was just like, hey, I guess, I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't want to talk about this. And walked away. And I go, well, all right. It was just weird, completely dismissive. Maybe he was going through a bad time, but it was weird. But most people...
Might have been his vegan diet.
Maybe the vegan diet.
Yeah.
Blame the vegan diet.
Does things to people.
I don't know. But it was, I mean, I could tell you so many people that are just... You know who's awesome is Bryan Cranston.
Really?
Awesome.
That's great to hear. Because Breaking Bad was, I mean, like, one of the best.
Dude, he is the nicest freaking guy. I went to this event and I saw him and I said, he goes, hey, I know you. I go, yeah, I was Lex Luthor on Smallville and I was really hoping you were going to be the new Lex Luthor. He goes, and he was just so friendly and open and talking to me about the character and life and just like, you never would think he was a big actor. He was just a regular dude. A lot of great guys. Jason Alexander is a great dude. What a great guy. But I've had some bad experiences.
Yeah?
Yeah. You're going to have them, man.
Has there been anyone who you've been a fan of who you were able to then forge a friendship with? That's always an interesting thing. I mean, I've got friends who are definitely, at this point, close friends who in the past I'd been a fan of, and now I'm like a friend and a fan. I'm like a fan of, certain people, musicians.
Yeah. This is going to sound corny, but I became friends with the singers to Air Supply. I love Air Supply, but Russell and Graham, they're really cool. A lot of 80s stars, like 80s singers. But yeah, I'm friends with a lot of people. I'd say more acquaintances, but friends. Actor wise, I'm friends with. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland's a great guy. I love Kiefer. Such a good dude. I'm trying to think of other... Actually, Jason Patrick. Jason Patrick from Lost Boys. He's the lead in Lost Boys, and he's done tons of stuff. Great actor. He and I became really close friends, but I was always a big fan of his. But, that was a part of my life when I was younger. But sometimes when you meet somebody, they're just completely different, and you hit it off.
Yeah.
And so I don't even think of I'm hanging out with this person. They just become your friend.
Yeah.
I remember I was friends with Carrie Fisher, and I loved her to death. In fact, I stayed at one of her bungalows for like 4 months because I was partying too much. She's like, "You're just gonna stay in one of my bungalows. She's like a mother to me. She was always so great. And she had a party. And she goes, invite your friends. And I invite like 10 of my friends who are mostly nobodies at this point. And all I remember is lying on a bed with Carrie Fisher, Sharon Stone, Meg Ryan, lying on a bed and laughing and going, why am I here? I'm this kid from Indiana, and I'm just hanging out with all these superstars. And most of them were really cool, except Sharon Stone. I remember out of the blue goes, my IQ's really high. I'm like genius. And I'm like, who would say that? Just remember, but like I'm very blessed. I've had some great moments in my life. I've met some incredible people. I never thought I'd get here. I never thought I'd be, talking to big superstars and working with big people and getting to interview people and meeting awesome people like you. And like, I never think about this stuff. And see, you've gotten me to kind of reminisce. I can go on about this forever, but it's really cool to go, hey, I could write a book.
Yeah.
I could write a fucking book about all the people I've met and the life and how it just how it shapes you. And, there's those people who just go into it and for all the wrong reasons and, get involved in the drugs and this and that. I've done that stuff, but I always had a sort of like, all right, that's enough. I'm going to go home now. I'm not going to stay out till 5 doing ecstasy. I'm all right. But I've had those moments. But then you hopefully grow up and you get wiser.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I couldn't last till 11 now. I'm asleep by 11.
Did you go pretty hard when you first moved out to LA?
Yeah, I went, I was just trying to fit in. And so.
When did you move to LA?
I moved in like 98. And.
Like post college?
Yeah. I went to New York and did off Broadway and stuff for 3 years. And then I got a gig in LA. I got my first movie and a TV show it was the worst show you'll ever see. And yeah, I got involved. I mean, I would go out with people and I tried coke and I did some ecstasy and I drank and I guess it was just to fit in. I guess it was, it was fun at times. But then I realized, this isn't, I never got addicted, thank God. I never was like, I have to wake up and drink. I don't have an addictive personality like that, just with nicotine. I just want my nicotine. No, but I just, I kind of grew out of it. Like, I don't, my idea of fun isn't like getting trashed.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to do because what happens when you get the older you get, it takes you a couple of days to even like function.
Yeah. And
it's like, it's already hard enough to wake up. Just fucking get up at a decent hour and get going and be productive. And, so, but I did it. I did a lot. I remember when I did Urban Legend, the whole cast, we tried ecstasy for the first time. And it was one of the it was the craziest night ever. Crazy. I could tell you stories, but yeah, I did. I could say I've done it. I've done it. I survived it, and here I am.
Yeah, I mean, earlier in life, like when you're in your 20s, it's. I think it can be useful as a means to an end. Whether it's establishing who you are socially, deepening relationships, connections with friends, and the like. Certainly, useful when dating, first dates. It's like.
People need a drink a lot of times. They feel like they have to have a drink. They have to do this. It's funny. I don't anymore.
Yes.
I don't even care. I don't need a drink at all.
Yeah.
People are like, oh yeah. I have people come up to me and say, oh, remember that one party when we were totally shit-faced? I'm like, yeah, I wasn't. I remember you were. And they're like, you weren't drunk? I'm like, no. I could just have fun. You wouldn't even know it. But I get it. I get people are really insecure. It's hard to meet people. It's hard to go on dates. Now you have these dating apps, which are fucking like, I mean, obviously we talk about it ad nauseum, but you don't know who you're getting. You see these pictures and you're like, oh yeah, look at this. And then you see the person, you're like, wow, where is that person? Yeah. That person didn't show up today.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I always try to throw in pictures of just, this is the way I look. This is me. This is like, this is a typical day. This is a really good day. And this is a showbiz day. So you're going to see, and when they see me in person, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'd rather you show me a bunch of average pictures and let me be surprised.
Yeah.
And go, wow, I liked you in your pictures and you're even more attractive. But people think they need to make these gorgeous pictures and you're never going to live up to that. You're never going to live up to those pictures. Less is better.
Under promise, over deliver.
100%.
It's a great framework for many things.
It is.
Yeah.
It's tricky. I have a friend who's always going on these dates and like he meets this one girl, my buddy Rob, and everything's going great. He's like, yeah, we had a great video chat. And then we're going to go to dinner. And they had this dinner and he spends a lot of money. And at the end of the conversation, she's like, oh, another thing, these are my political views and that's just the way it is. And I'm very this, and without saying what. And he just goes, oh, it was a complete deal breaker. It was like, and so he was just like, hey, you're awesome. It was great meeting you, but we have completely different views on stuff. And she goes, deleted.
Wow.
Just deleted. Didn't even say anything.
Just
to
like
him.
that.
I would have said at least like, hey, totally understand. Thanks for dinner. But no.
Damn.
It's tough.
Drew a hard line.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's tough out there. It's tough out there for a pimp.
Can be.
Remember that song?
Yeah.
What movie is that from?
I have no idea.
It's hard out here for a pimp. It was Hustle and Flow.
Ooh, no. Yep, never saw it.
Great
I know
movie.
the song. Never saw the movie.
That's a great movie. You'd like that movie. Yeah.
You have a favorite movie of all time?
Somebody just asked me this. I mean, it depends genres. I mean,
And also probably like, what era of your life you're in, probably different art resonates with you differently.
look, I love Rocky. I love Empire Strikes Back. I love The Shining. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love Arthur with Dudley Moore. I love Slapshot, the hockey movie. I love Return of the Living Dead. I love Reservoir Dogs. I love Forrest Gump. I love Silence of the Lambs. I love Back to the Future. I love, those kind of movies. But you know what I don't like? I'm probably going to lose your audience here. I'm not into all those guys that kick ass. That Born Identity shit where they just can fight like for an hour and they're just tireless and not sweating, and they're just like, there's so many of those movies that are just like, I just never got into it. Like I love Keanu, but I'm not John Wicks or the Fast and Furious stuff. That's not. I like documentaries. I like history stuff, and I like horror movies and an occasional action movie. Like I just watched Twisters and I was like, fuck man, I was bummed. I was, I love Glenn Powell. He was great. The cast was great, but it was like all this fucking terrible. And I love country music, but it was like not good country music. It's just like, I have high expectations, and it's hard to have high expectations nowadays with movies.
Yeah.
I just like the Alien movie, the new Alien Romulus. I'm a diehard. I was so pumped up about that. I think it just dropped the ball. Yeah. And it will make $1 billion. I mean, it just wasn't what I wanted.
Are you into superhero movies? I mean, like as somebody who spent many years playing opposite.
I have to be honest. And I'm the voice of the Flash and the Justice League. Look, I have a fondness for it, an appreciation for it, and a love for it. But I never was into that as a child. It wasn't me.
You weren't into comic books?
No, never. And which I think helped me when I played Lex Luthor. I think that helped me because I just said I'm going to play it real, and I'm not going to twirl my mustache. Not that he had one. But, I just never got into it. So I haven't seen, you'd be blown away. If you said a whole bunch of big movies.
Have you seen the new Deadpool, the latest Deadpool?
I haven't seen the first one.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's great. I'm sure people love it. I was in Guardians, and I really love Guardians of the Galaxy, but I'm not into. Look, would I take a role? Fuck yeah. Would I enjoy it? Yeah. Would I promote the shit out of it? Yeah. But if I wasn't in it, would I watch it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But Guardians I did love. Guardians of the Galaxy, I actually thought that was a great movie.
I thought it was great.
It was fucking unique, and I loved it.
A lot. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has kind of lost me a bit, but I will say that the Deadpool franchise to me has been so great.
You love it.
Just the R rating.
It's not that I've never seen it, so I can't judge it. Yeah. It's just like I watched the trailer and I'm like, this isn't something I would watch. But there's a movie that people say I would like because even though it is sort of Marvel and is Logan.
Yeah, Logan was great.
And I've never seen it, but it's not really superhero-ish, so I think I would like that. You know what it is? I like grounded.
Yeah.
I like grounded stuff. I like the horror that I like. It's usually the movies that things could happen. A lot of times, I mean, obviously Return of the Living Dead, but this scenario, it could have happened and it was kind of fun. I don't know. I just
I thought was great. Our mutual friend Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones.
Yeah. It was dark. I remember saw an episode for her and she was fantastic. I don't know what it is. I think when you know that this person's going to always make it through, and you're like, Superman doesn't die.
What are the stakes?
None of these guys die. So it's like, when you watch movies and you're like, well, these people can't die. And you're like, oh, so why am I? So I know that they're going to win in the end. Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know. The kids love it. Adults love it. It's just not something that I have an affinity for.
I have an affinity for dark. you know. So
Yeah.
like Deadpool, Jessica Jones was amazing. I love the Dark Knight trilogy.
See, I love that.
Yeah.
I love Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
See, I thought that was great, and I liked the Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah.
I liked it because I love Jack and Michael Keaton. Yeah, I like that stuff. I think I like more. Maybe this is it. I think we're hitting something with me. Tangible, practical. When I feel like I could touch something on the screen, when it looks so real, but now everything's a backdrop.
Yeah.
Everything's special effects, and it's just like 80% of the movie is effects. I'm out. Back to the Future. It looked real. It was all real practical stuff and cool. It's like, that's the world I love. And most of it isn't appealing to me. When everything's just, and sometimes it's not even that good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my God. There's a scene in Alien that is like, it's an actor who died that they kind of bring him back and use his face, AI or whatever. It was fucking brutal. And I was like, I was out. I was like, why did you do that? Get a real actor. You don't need that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the director's great. The movie looked great.
I feel like if I've got to sit through another multiverse,
Like I don't do any of that shit. I haven't seen. I'm telling you, I haven't seen any of those movies. Well, name one.
well, like the Avengers
Never saw
stuff with Doctor Strange.
Never
it's
saw
all just
it.
become like this weird. And granted, the latest Deadpool movie was kind of had tinges of like the multiverse stuff,
Yeah.
which loses me. I like the more practical, tangible.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah.
James Bond fan?
I liked Roger Moore, which I'm sure everybody didn't. But there are a couple of movies that I liked. But again, it wasn't my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I don't really love the one guy who just kicks royal ass and everything. I just, if I'm going to watch one of those, it's probably Indiana Jones. But since Temple of Doom, or what was the third one?
Where'd they nuke the fridge? You know the line? If something's nuked the fridge, it's like almost like jumping the shark.
That's because of
because of that.
It was like the fourth one. It was
Yeah.
like the one with what's his name?
Yeah,
the
where
young,
he makes it through a nuclear explosion
because he was in the
He's
fridge.
in the fridge. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
It's just so
watching that, and I
ridiculous.
thought this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Yeah, they tried to recreate things. They constantly do. And another thing is, I think with movies is that don't you think that when I was growing up, even through the 90s into the 2000s, you had to wait for a while for a movie to come out, like a big blockbuster. And if they did a sequel, it was another year. But now it's like blockbuster, next week, blockbuster, next week, a different blockbuster. And they're all related and they're all sort of the same thing. It's the same. The story's a little different, but it all looks the same. It's all that world. And it just doesn't appeal to me.
are you excited for the new Beetlejuice?
Yeah, I'm excited for it because I love the first one. And also my close buddies who created Smallville and Wednesday, Al Goff and Miles Miller, they wrote it. So
dope.
I've got to support them. But I'll go see it for sure.
It's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. Well, this was so fun, dude. Thank you for coming in.
Dude, this is great.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know if I should have said all these things about these new movies that came out. Am I going to get in trouble?
No, I think it's so fun. It's also like a different fodder for the podcast. Like, and I'm a huge movie fan, so it's fun to get to talk movies.
I just love movies that are like have character and are unique and like to me the best directors are like Tarantino. I love Tarantino.
Yeah, he's amazing.
David Fincher will give you a different there's Kubrick.
Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle, man.
Yeah,
great.
Sunshine, The Beach, right?
Who did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
That was, I'm drawing a blank.
That was a great movie.
Yeah,
that
so
was
good.
a great movie.
Christopher Nolan, although I feel like I've not liked as many Christopher Nolan movies as I've liked.
You know what? I didn't, as much as I liked it. I'm not saying I didn't like the movie. I liked Oppenheimer, but I didn't love it. And I didn't love it Because in my, when you have it's like when you have an idea of what a movie's going to be, and they either give you more than what you ever wanted, or they give you less. To me, it's like I wanted to see the testings and maybe that happened after, but I want to see the testings of the town and the blow up and that big thing. And I wanted to see like the bomb being dropped, and you don't even have to watch it, but like to see people living their lives and then hearing something come from the sky and looking up and never having to see anything else. They just like all their lives were gone, and you know it, and you're seeing these people, but not showing the violence. Like I wanted to see that, the Enola Gay bringing those over. I wanted to see more, and I felt like all of a sudden it was like Talk Town USA. It was
100%.
like everybody's just talking for 2 hours.
Boring.
Oh my God. I mean, he's obviously great, one of the greatest directors, but like, yeah, man, and I'm like always the guy in the group that's like, you don't like anything. I'm like, no, I do. I like things.
Yeah, I thought it was boring, but the Dark Knight trilogy, incredible.
Great. Christian Bale's great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who else.
Joker was great.
Joker was great.
Yeah.
I love the Wachowskis.
Mm-hmm. I'm not into Matrix stuff.
No, I'm not into Matrix stuff, actually, which is weird.
I don't like that stuff.
Being a fan of them, but V for Vendetta is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah, I thought that was okay.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
And although it's not without its flaws, I loved Cloud Atlas. I
didn't see it.
Amazing movie.
Really?
Yeah. Have you seen a really neat
Contact movie? Is a great movie.
Contact is great.
Love Contact. Interstellar, I didn't love it.
Yeah. Mr. Nobody, if you haven't seen that, it's a fantastic sleeper hit. One of Jared Leto's best movies. Wasn't able
Email me that.
Yeah,
or I'll just write Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, it's amazing. It wasn't able to find distribution in the United States because it crossed so many different genres. But I thought it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
Juno Temple in it is incredible. Jared Leto,
Mr. Nobody. Yeah, don't say anything. You know what else I loved? I had never seen it. I was late to the game. What is it with it won an Oscar. It was about the ballet or the
Black Swan.
Black Swan.
Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky is one of the best ever,
Yeah.
and that movie was awesome. That had an impact on me. When those movies are just, sometimes those come along and you're just like, holy shit. Jurassic Park was fun as shit. And then they made 8 of them.
Well, it's Spielberg, right?
Jaws, E.T., Schindler's List.
So great. It's so fun getting to nerd out.
See, I like stuff.
Yeah, you do.
I like a lot of stuff. I just don't like the recycled same old shit.
Yeah.
And I don't like a lot of CGI. Make it look real.
Yeah.
Try not to use all that CGI if you can. And if you're going to do it, make it look great. Not just, but yeah.
It was super dark, but the Dahmer series I thought was amazing.
I thought it was one of the best series ever. Dahmer is so dark, and it felt like you were in the room. Like I say, tangible, I could smell the room.
Yes.
It was so... That show blew me away. His performance, the cinematography, the story, the everything.
Sound design, the whale, everything.
Richard Jenkins, the father, was brilliant. Everybody was brilliant.
So good.
See, I loved it. I love Presumed Innocence with Jake Gyllenhaal. Awesome show. So, there's a lot of great shows.
I love it, man. We have some more taste.
I know.
Yeah,
we're gonna hang out.
Talk briefly about your new children's book that's coming out.
Oh yeah, I should have brought one. I have a book. It's called, all right, bear with me. It's called The Talented Farter. And it's a fart book with sounds, but it's about a kid whose only talent is he can make his farts sound like everyday things that you hear every day, like fireworks. When his family runs out of fireworks, he has his own fireworks show. He's closer to nature because he could sound like a frog, and he shares his sounds with the frog, who's kind of like, what is going on? The illustrations are beautiful. It's a friendly, fun book for adults and kids. It's available on pre-order on Amazon. It's called The Talented Farter. Please pre-order it. It's a lot of fun, and yeah. And I also have a thing called Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. It's I should have brought you one of those, but it's you put a cap in your dog's water. It's odorless and tasteless, and it makes your dog's breath smell great.
Whoa!
It's got my picture on it with the dogs, my doggies, and Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. It really works, and it's not like something your dogs will hate. They won't. It's like water. So just a capful, and I'm telling you, because I kiss my dogs all the time. But Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath.
Is your dog name Rosie?
No, I'm Rosie. My nickname was Rosie in
that's
college
right.
and high school.
That's right.
So Rosenbaum. So Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that you had like a CPG pet product. Wow.
Yeah. So I do that. I like to dabble in all sorts of things. You know, I'm like trying to sell a horror series right now and a horror movie that I wrote, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying just like for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm enjoying the process. And not just going, it's got to sell. I've got to do this. It's got to. I'm just like going, this is fun. If it sells, great. If it not, I'll get over it. I don't. Everything's not so. I have to. And I think then that's when life gets better. When you're just doing things because you enjoy them, and if something happens, it's icing on the cake. And if not, do something else.
Yeah.
What's your next idea? Just come up with something else. We all have ideas. I do want to do a book. What do they call those books that are
Like a memoir?
no, it's like dark and it's like not animated, but like, Frank Miller.
Oh, a graphic novel.
Graphic novel. I couldn't remember the word. I always forget. But a graphic novel of my life. Like a graphic novel of these incredible stories. Some are dark as shit and some are, I think I have so many. I grew up in this small town where some of the darkest shit that you would never think would happen in this small town happened. And the characters that are just larger than life that you wouldn't believe. And somehow I survived it. Some crazy shit.
Damn.
So I got to think of a title, but.
So rural Indiana?
Yeah, it was Evansville, Indiana. Well, really Newburgh. It was like right over the borderline from Henderson, Kentucky. And, it's
Jewish family?
Yeah, not religious, but Jewish family. But
Yeah.
we moved there. But
What were y'all doing out there?
my dad got a job transfer,
Wow.
and I remember somebody in Indiana once goes, and I have friends there, and I love it. I love going back. I love Indiana. But somebody once says something about being a Jew, and I go, well, I'm a Jew, and they're like, no, you're not, and I go. Yeah, I am. I'm actually a Jew. And they're like, dude. I go, Rosenbaum, Jew. He's like, dude, you're not a Jew. And I'm like, are we really having this conversation? Why would I lie to you? It was like I was trying to convince this person who did not want to be convinced. And it was just really weird. They're like, oh, yeah, whatever, man, whatever. They don't want to talk about it. But I remember having that conversation. But I never experienced like a lot of,
Anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism or anything. I never really experienced a lot of that there. People were mostly cool.
Yeah.
Or they kept to themselves, or they didn't say much. But I mean, you're going to experience a little bit of everything everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all about people. It's about the people you're around.
And I think it makes you stronger. Like in the end, to see it, to know that it's out there.
Yeah, and
I've seen it. I mean, I'm born and raised Jewish, not religious, but yeah, I've been exposed to it.
Yeah, but when you see something happen like, the Holocaust and all these things and, you have to, you have to step up for humanity.
Yeah.
It's not just a Jewish thing. It's not just a black thing. It's not just a, Hispanic thing. It's about, it's humanity. It's like, hey, you have to acknowledge that this can't happen again. How can we change this? How can we make things? So that's what it's about. So that is when I'm saying I'm a Jew. It's like on a smaller scale. It's saying like, hey, I'm okay. You're okay. I'm Jewish. It's okay to be. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's but yeah. Anyway, this has been great. I love this setup, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where can listeners find you on social media? How can they find your podcast?
Yes, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
It's so good.
YouTube, you could listen to it anywhere. Please subscribe, write a review. I hope you like it. There's some great guests. And I'm on Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, and I have a link tree with conventions that I'll be at signing and live podcasts and Cameo and all that stuff.
So sick.
Yeah.
Last question that
Yes,
gets asked every other
yes,
show.
let's do
What does living a genius life mean to you?
Living a genius life. It's as far as we know, we only get there's one of us, you know, and there's an end game. And so the goal is to experience as much as you can, to connect as much as you can, to create great memories, and in doing that, also taking care of yourself so you're able to do that. And also being around people that make you happy, that pick you up, that don't bring you down, that inspire you, or make you laugh, or have some quality that you know, helps you or works, you know, that you enjoy being around. I think living the genius life is being open to opinion and like learning from everyone, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a story to tell. And I think it's important to just keep your eyes open, and you never know what's going to come around that next corner. So life's full of surprises. So just be prepared.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Embrace the magic.
Is that what I was supposed to say?
No, but it was great.
What was I supposed to say?
Well, it's a more philosophical question you can take it anywhere. People have taken it in all different kinds of directions, and it changes too over time, because like I'll have repeat guests on, and I ask them 1 year what it means to them, and then it changes the next go around.
I mean, ultimately, I always think of like, you know, just taking care of yourself. You know, that's what I think of when you want to live a genius life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just be smart. Like, do whatever you can to be good to yourself, to good to your body, to good to your mind, and learn. Keep yourself open-minded, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the right answer.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah.
I got an A?
I love it. You got an A.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael Rosenbaum.
You're the best.
You're the man.
This is great.
Check out, guys, Inside of You. It's a great podcast, and I loved the conversation that we had. It was amazing.
It was great. Yeah, listen to me and Max. If you like that one, maybe you could subscribe and listen to more. But it's up to you. I'm not going to.
Yep.
This is great.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.